What's the biggest mistake your boss ever made? My boss Richard lost it when he caught me helping my coworker fix a client's order. This is exactly why productivity is down, he shouted. Everyone's wasting time helping each other. He called a mandatory meeting and announced that helping coworkers was now forbidden. From now on, everyone handles their own work exclusively, and I'll write up anyone I catch helping someone else, he said, glaring at me. I asked what if someone needed critical information only one person had, but Richard said that was their problem for not being prepared. The rest of the team exchanged nervous looks. The next morning, Richard came to my desk panicked because his presentation was missing half the data, and only I had access to those files. Send me everything immediately, he demanded, but I reminded him that would be helping a coworker. His face went red as he stood in front of 20 executives with a half-empty PowerPoint, stammering about technical difficulties while they whispered about whether he was drunk or just incompetent. That disaster meant the executives wanted daily updates from him, but Richard didn't know how to pull the numbers himself because he'd always made us do it. When he asked for help, we all pointed to his no-helping policy, so he spent 12 hours trying to figure out Excel formulas that we could have shown him in 5 minutes. He sent the executives complete garbage data that showed we'd somehow sold negative products, and they started questioning if he understood basic math. To prove he didn't need anyone's help, Richard actually fired his assistant in front of everyone, saying she was part of the productivity problem. Within 2 days, he was drowning because he didn't know his own passwords, couldn't find any files, and had no idea when his meetings were. He showed up to the wrong conference room 3 times in one day, while important clients waited elsewhere, and everyone started whispering that he was losing it. Our biggest client called furious about a massive order problem that required information from 3 different people to fix. We all sat at our desks listening to Richard get screamed at on speakerphone while he tried to solve it alone, running between computers trying to piece together information that we could have given him instantly. The client fired us on the spot, and Richard had to explain to his boss why he'd lost their biggest account over something that should have taken 2 minutes to resolve. The office coffee machine broke, and normally someone would just fix it, but helping maintain office equipment counted as helping coworkers. Richard, addicted to caffeine and unable to function without coffee, had a visible meltdown in the break room at 10 a.m., actually shaking while trying to figure out why the machine was beeping. A visiting investor watched our boss nearly cry over a coffee machine and asked if everything was okay with leadership. Our department was supposed to host the company holiday party, but organizing it required collaboration. Since no one could help each other, Richard had to plan everything alone, resulting in him forgetting to order food, booking a venue for the wrong date, and sending invitations with the wrong address. 300 people showed up to an empty parking lot while Richard stood in an empty restaurant across town, and the CEO called him personally to ask if he was sabotaging the company on purpose. Richard's computer crashed after he clicked a sketchy email, and normally someone on our team would help him recover his files since we all knew the workarounds. But helping was forbidden, so he had to work from his phone for a week, typing reports with his thumbs and holding his tiny screen up during video calls like a teenager. His boss asked why a grown man was running meetings from his phone, and Richard's explanation made him sound completely unhinged. The final straw came when Richard threw out his back moving boxes because the mailroom wouldn't help him carry them to his office. He literally couldn't stand up straight, but still had to give a presentation to investors, hunched over at a 90-degree angle, sweating through his suit from pain. One investor actually asked if he needed medical attention, while Richard insisted everything was fine, his face white as paper, trembling from the effort of standing. By Friday, he was begging us to forget the policy, tears actually streaming down his face as he sat on the floor of his office because his back hurt too much to reach his chair, and no one would help him up. Please, he whispered. The board is coming Monday and I need help with everything or I'm finished. We all stood in his doorway looking down at him sprawled on the carpet, and I said, but helping you would be a write-up offense. But I didn't realize that I'd just pushed him too far. Full story on the channel below.